last year I was kind of lazy, and I decided I need to knock something out because I had about 58 ornaments to do, not 72, but I had to do something fast. So I just did the stick and the flame, and it looked kind of cheesy. So I decided that I better put a holder or a brass base onto it. This one's really cool because it's got some stripper glitter on it. I don't know where it came from, but it's on there. So it's a yellow heart flame, and then zebra wood candle, and then it's got Chalk de Vega as the base of it. For this, what I do is I drill a hole. In my handout, I think I told you to drill an 1/8 of an inch. I think I drilled it a little bit bigger than that. You can drill it up to a quarter. It doesn't matter because you're going to make a flame that's big enough that it'll wobble. But it allows you, if you make the hole a little bigger than your tenon, to set your flame in straight. I want to get this down to a 1/2 inch. Or somewhere thereabouts. I've got a hole in the top to put my flame in. I have a book, and I was going to do it for auction, but he said you guys didn't do an auction except for the 50-50 thing. Okay, yeah, we can do that. This has 9. It's actually got 11 ornaments because it's got the 2 penguins and it's got another small thing in there. And you can do these out of either solid wood or you can paint them or whatever. But I'll leave that with the club to auction or whatever. And that's what I use in the John C. Campbell class. And most of the guys will do somewhere around 14 or 15 ornaments of that class. This is what the handout for the candle looks like. And it has all this really pertinent information that's like where you get the stuff from and all that. And then it has step-by-step pictures and instructions. And this one, even though this is a really simple project, has 8 pages. There's 1 page of gallery pictures. Now, I'm not as good a photographer as I am typer. And I type with 1 finger, so you can imagine what kind of photographer I am, right? Anyway, if you come to the class, you'll get a handout for each one of the ornaments. They're all color, so they're expensive for me to print. Anyhow, so I'm going to put a little bit of a chamfer on the end there. I'm making this about 2 3/4 inches long. And I'd sand this, but I'm not going to sand. Not with Purple Heart. So there's my candle. I love playing with that. I'm going to do a flame. I want the flame to be somewhat like a flame. And I need the end of it because I want to put a screw hook on it. I was about to forget that. So I need a big enough tip, and I'm going to put a little dimple in with my skew so that I can put a screw hook in there later. Tomorrow we'll actually use a 16th inch drill bit and drill a hole in there so we can hang it. So now I've got a flame. I need about a 10-inch tenon on it. So we can go down in this candle. Yep. Keep wanting to cut it back. I don't mind it sitting a little bit high or a little bit proud. Be the only candle with chatter on it, on the flame. Make it look more active. So once I do that, got my little candle in my flame. Now I need a base for it. This is really sort of a simple ornament, in that people that are starting to turn should be able to do this really easy, except for maybe the base part. You don't have to do the base exactly the same way I'm doing it, though. You can actually make it a little fatter. And the one thing I have to say is about the base is I found that if you make the base nice and thin so it looks really cool like that, it bounces the first time on the floor. But when you make it thicker, it bounces 2 or 3 times on the floor. But when you put this candle in this base, it don't bounce at all. This candle gives it enough weight that it hits on the side of that base, and you can see the crack on it. And for that, I want something that looks sort of like brass, or at least somewhat different from the candle itself. So I'm going to use Choc de Vega. And Choc de Vega is a really nice wood. It comes in bright yellow to a dark orange. It doesn't quite go to a red, but it gets really close. And you can pick out sticks of it at West Penn, places like that. You can call those guys up and say, hey, look, I'm looking for the orangest or the reddest or the yellowest or whatever of Choc de Vega. The stuff, I'll pass around a little blank of it. It usually comes waxed, but I don't know why, because it has so much oil in it already. When you start turning it, it's almost like it's lubricated. Have any of you ever turned olive wood? Made pins and that kind of stuff out of olive wood? It's really easy to turn, isn't it? It's a nice wood, beautiful wood to turn. Anyway, since I only need about 1 inch of this, plus a little bit to give me some space to turn off, I've got 4-inch blocks of this. I'm going to just use one of them, and I'm going to put it in the jaws instead of putting a tenon on it, because once we finish this candle, you guys can take a break and go home, and all the good turners can stay and learn how to do a lantern. But one day, you can have somebody come up to you, either a really cute gal or some kid that just breaks your heart if you don't help them, and they're going to want you to help them do an ornament. And you're going to say, I remember Bob's ornaments. Okay, got this rough down. Want to make sure I got it squared up. Okay. And I want to go ahead and drill my 1/2-inch hole in here. That'll give me an idea of how big I need to leave the base of the candle holder, or the part of the candle holder is holding the taper. Center to follow, so I'll put my skew up. Find the center and make a little dimple. Then my drill bit should follow that. It's just such great wood. And you see how it just drills so easy, even compared to soft maple. Okay. One thing's for sure, I've got it squared off at this point. So, I'll go back. Oops. Round this edge off some. Make a little dip. Now, there's a trick to getting a good cut close up to there. And that's where I use what a lot of people call a scoogee gouge or a spindle master. You can make these. This is a Thompson 3/8 inch detail gouge. And I took the end of it, ground it in half, put the same bevel I put on the front. Now I have two tools because I have a collet. And what this allows me, because it has no edges to a flute, because it has no flute, it won't catch. Now watch me get a catch. Alright, the thing is I can go right up to the edge and square it up, just like that. I can come straight into the edge of the piece. Because I don't have those two wings to catch anything. And get a really nice sharp corner if I want to. So, all right, I got my cup to hold the candle. I don't know where my candle is. I think my candle's a little big, so I'll probably have to put it back in the chuck. Anyway, I give myself a little working room back here in the back. And now I can go either with this tool and make my cut. And with this wood, it makes a nice, smooth surface. I would round this if I left it thick. Now, if I was given this as a gift, or I put it in a gallery, I would want to leave it at least this thick, around the 1/16 of an inch to, I don't know, 3/64. I'd want it thick enough so that when I drop it, it doesn't break like a potato chip. All right, I've got this turned. I don't really need to do a lot of sanding, but what sanding I do, I can start probably at 220 or 320 because I got nice smooth cuts due to the Choc de Vega. And all I got to do now is part it off. I'll leave a bit of a base, and I want to undercut that. So I'm going to use the point of my skew, do a little undercut. I'm a little far from the tool rest here. Plus I need to be up higher, being askew. You can see it flexing. And there I've got my candle holder. Well, anyway, just put a drop of CA glue or two, stick it in the base, and it's done. Then you can take, since you've got a point in the top of the candle, the flame, you can put a screw eye in there. It stands up perfectly. If it didn't, I'd drop it. So I left this one thick because if I drop it, it's going to land like that. If I put a candle on it, the candle's going to make it land on one of these edges. And this will actually, with the thicker edge, it's more likely to survive. If you put it in a gallery and you take, say, 6 or 8 of them over to a gallery and they call you back up the next day because customers have been dropping them, they're not going to want you to bring new ones in. So.